All right, let's take a look at the quad box. The storms are moving in across Maryland. You can see the rain coming down right now in Towson and on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge as well. A shelter order in place has been in effect for Pimlico, which has now delayed the Black Eyed Susan race, so be mindful of that. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is here tracking this system. And Jasmine, how serious is it, particularly for those people out of Pimlico?
Well, they certainly want to make sure that they're staying inside because with these storms, we are seeing a ton of lightning and, of course, some thunder. We just heard that here. But you want to make sure that you're staying safe because with some of these storms, there have also been damaging wind gusts. We've got a destructive thunderstorm warning in place for part of Baltimore County. Notice all of the lightning with that. But with it, we have the potential for wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour. So if you are in Baltimore County, you want to make sure that you're finding immediate shelter from those storms. You will notice also that behind us, where we see some drier weather, that severe thunderstorm watch has been canceled. So after this first round of storms moves through, we'll likely see those watches canceled and we will get a break from the rain. So that'll happen over the next few hours. Damaging wind gusts is the primary threat, but we also have that chance of heavy rain with those storms. Hail is a possibility. We have had some reports of hail in Baltimore County. An isolated tornado can't be ruled out. So all types of severe weather possible. Make sure you have multiple ways of receiving any alerts issued. We now have that rain over Baltimore, 84 for the temperature. Around the rest of Maryland, 60s, 70s, and 80s. It certainly cooled down a lot with those storms moving in, so expect a big drop in temperatures. After about 7, 8 o'clock, a lot of the rain tapers, and by 9 p.m., expect cloudy skies. Once we head into early tomorrow morning around 3, 4, 5 a.m., we'll be tracking an additional round of showers and storms, some of which could be strong, even severe. As we get closer to daybreak, we're talking scattered showers, nothing severe by 7 a.m. After that moves out, we will be nice and dry for the rest of the day. So if you do have any plans for Preakness tomorrow, it's looking like a nice and dry forecast. We'll stay dry on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. Rain returns on Wednesday with another chance of showers on Thursday and Friday. Providing much needed rain, we still are in a drought. 66 for the low temperature tonight with scattered showers and storms continuing. We start with rain tomorrow morning, but it does taper by the afternoon. 88 for the high temperature and looking great for Preakness. Just note that it is going to be warm and steamy. 78 for the high on Sunday. 79 on Monday. We drop down to the low 70s on Tuesday and the 60s follow. 68 with rain on Wednesday. We'll have scattered showers. 68 again on Thursday. Then 69 still below average on Friday with a few showers possible. Back to you.
All right, Jasmine, thank you. We've got a deluge coming down right now here at the station. Okay, we want to go back to you, Jasmine. We understand we have a tornado warning.
Oh, okay. Well, let me step off and
Can I help you?
Where that is located. So let me go to the radar. Seems like that just popped up. So let's see if it's populating on our screen yet.
Yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do, Jasmine. I'll look around for you, but I can tell you it was a deluge coming down outside, and I saw lightning as well.
Yep, so it looks like that just popped up. That tornado warning is in place for Baltimore City. So that's this red box that we have right here. That goes through 6:15 p.m. So let's see if we can see any rotation with that system. We always look for that red and green coupling.
How big of an area is affected?
So the area that we're seeing is around Calverton, part of Light Street included in that, down into Cherry Hill, so just north of Arbutus. So
and I see that red and green index. Is that inflow outflow right there with the red and green I see?
So it indicates a little bit of rotation. Now this isn't as tight as we typically see.
Wow.
But still some rotation possible with this system. So I'm going to take a look and see where the storm system is tracking and turn the reflectivity back on. So if you live in Calverton, Brooklyn Park, Baltimore, Dundalk, Rosedale, Rossville, Essex, Edgemere, Middle River, this warning goes through 6:15, so you are all in the path of this storm system, and you want to find immediate shelter. You want to find the most interior room of your home, so that could mean a basement if you do have a basement. If not, maybe someplace like a bathroom or a closet. The goal is to place as many walls between you and outside as possible, so you really want to make sure that you are finding shelter immediately. You'll notice right on the edge of that red box, we've got some very heavy rain moving in. And with that, you may not even see rotation if it does touch the ground. We can hear the loud thunder over our station currently, but you may not see that rotation because of that heavy rain. So a rain wrap situation, you want to make sure, again, that you are finding immediate shelter. We've got that heavy rain starting to move into this red box and potentially some rotation that we're seeing with that. So let's check again on our velocity to see if we're seeing any rotation. So it's right around Arbutus where we've got that warning that goes into effect. Again, if you live in any of these cities listed, you want to make sure that you are finding immediate shelter. This warning goes through 6:15 p.m. Hail is possible with this, of course, damaging wind gusts. Now it's moving to the east at about 38 miles per hour, so we're keeping watch on that, keeping a close eye for any potential rotation that we are seeing. Going back to the reflectivity, and now you will notice within this red box some very heavy rain and potentially some hail moving in. And you can see on the camera now, well, you can't really see on the camera just because of that lightning and the rain. And we want to emphasize, don't go outside and try to look for any rotation. You're not going to be able to see it with the heavy rain coming down. You really want to make sure that you are taking immediate shelter and putting as many walls between you and outside as possible. If you have a basement, that's the place to go. If not, try to find a bathroom or an interior room such as a closet. Any room without windows, that's going to be your best bet. Again, we're tracking the spot of heavy rain and storms and that tornado warning in this red box. So right over Baltimore City currently, this goes through 6:15 p.m. So for about another 20 minutes. And of course, we'll guide you as long as this warning is in place. But taking a larger look, we've been keeping close watch on this entire line of rain and storms, some heavy rain. I'll turn on the lightning tracker so you can see all of what we're seeing. A ton of lightning and a lot of storms outside right now. That's something that we'll continue to see over the next hour or so as this line of strong storms moves over the region. Now, taking a look again at that tornado warning, this is for Baltimore City going through 6:15 p.m. We're tracking some heavy rain. You've got those colors of purple. You want to make sure, again, that you're finding immediate shelter, trying to see some of where we could be seeing that rotation. Again, all of these spots in the red box. You want to make sure that you're finding immediate shelter. But even if you're not in the red box, we still have several severe thunderstorm warnings in place. And with those damaging wind gusts, heavy rain, we have this destructive severe thunderstorm warning for part of Baltimore County that goes through 6 p.m. So for about another 4 minutes. If you do live in this area, again, you want to make sure that you're finding shelter because with that, although it's not a tornado warning, still seeing some very strong wind gusts. Wind gusts within that destructive severe thunderstorm warning could be up to 80 miles per hour. Now, again, going back to this tornado warning over Baltimore City, I'll go back to the reflectivity so you can kind of see what we're seeing. We've got that heavy rain currently moving over the state, and just to time it out, where that storm system is moving. If you live in Brooklyn Park, Dundalk, Essex, Edgemere, Middle River, you're in the path of this system. So you want to make sure that you are prepared. You're finding immediate shelter as we deal with the rain and storms. Heavy rain, frequent lightning and thunder. This tornado warning goes through 6:15 p.m. So we've got about 18 more minutes with this in place. But regardless of where you are, even if you're just in an area under a severe thunderstorm warning, we're still talking about damage possible, hail possible, heavy rain, gusty winds within those severe thunderstorm warnings. So regardless of where you are, you really want to make sure that you are finding immediate shelter and staying safe. We are emphasizing to have multiple ways of receiving any alerts that may be issued. This is our first round of storms, but we do have another threat of rain and storms overnight and into early tomorrow morning. Some of those storms could be strong, even severe. Taking a look at the severe storms under this destructive severe thunderstorm warning, Bel Air, Joppatown, Edgewood, Aberdeen. If you are in those areas, again, we are talking the threat of heavy rain and damaging wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour. So these are the two main areas of concern up into Baltimore County, where we've got that destructive severe thunderstorm warning, and then in Baltimore City, where we have that tornado warning. Make sure that you are finding a place where you're away from any windows. That may be a bathroom, a closet, and if you have a basement, that is the best place to go. You want to place as many walls between you and outside as possible. Now again, that severe thunderstorm warning through 6:15 p.m. The destructive severe thunderstorm warning goes through 6 p.m. So that may expire in the next 2 minutes. It may be extended to include some areas farther to the east, including Harford County, where they are seeing that heavy rain right now. All of this is associated with our latest weather maker, bringing us some heavy rain and possibly even some hail. So this indicator saying an inch hail possible. The system is moving to the east at about, even if you are not under that severe thunderstorm warning, this all goes through 6:15 p.m. So here's a larger look at some of those areas where we do expect the storm to move. Baltimore City currently under that tornado warning going through 6:15 p.m. I'll give you a closer look at some of those areas under the warning. So in that red box, Calverton, this goes through, looks like South Grundy Street toward Armistead Gardens. So if you are in any of these areas, you probably hear the heavy rain and you may see the lightning, but the most important thing to do is to find immediate shelter from the storm system. It's going to continue to move to the east within the next hour. Behind the storm system, we've already been seeing some clearing. A lot of the severe thunderstorm watches have been dropped. That's good news. This isn't going to last all night long. Within the next hour or so, a lot of the rain is going to start pushing out, and that's good news if you will be going anywhere this evening. Notice now that we are keeping track of severe thunderstorm warnings. That severe destructive warning has expired, but still seeing some heavy rain over parts of Baltimore County, now moving into Harford County. Again, we are tracking this tornado warning if you're just joining us. This is in place through 6:15, so for another 15 minutes, we'll be tracking this and guiding you through it. It includes all of the areas in this red box. Now, a lot of heavy rain has been associated with it, some lightning. There is the potential for a little bit of hail within this box. If you are in Baltimore City, make sure that you're finding shelter immediately. Showing you again some of the areas that are set to be impacted by the storm system. Brooklyn Park in just a couple minutes, Dundalk, Essex. By the time the warning expires, Edgemere, Middle River, still looking at some impacts, some heavy rain, lightning, and even hail, all a threat to you. The system will keep moving to the east over the next hour or so. So make sure that you are keeping a close watch on the radar if you can. Make sure you're finding shelter. That's the most important thing, regardless of if you are under a tornado warning or not. Many areas remain under the severe thunderstorm warning. So that does include parts of Baltimore County and Baltimore City down into Anne Arundel County. Howard County also under that severe thunderstorm warning. So the threat is there for strong, even severe storms. Gusty winds, one of the possibilities for places not under this tornado warning. So again, taking a look at the system, we've got the potential for hail, possibly up to an inch. It's moving to the east around 40 miles per hour. Keeping watch again on this entire line. So this extends down into southern Maryland. We've been watching those storms closely. Make sure that you're finding shelter. Once again, this red box is the area that we are focused on, seeing some heavy rain over Calverton to Baltimore City, downtown area. You could be noticing some of that heavy rain.
I think Gerard is on the phone.
Okay.
Jasmine, you want to toss to him and see what he's seeing out there?
Yeah. So Gerard, what are you seeing?
Hey, Jasmine, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, so I have actually been out chasing today, following these storms off from all the way back towards Frederick on I-70. Of course, they congealed into that big line. Along the way, those storms really got bigger. I mean, you probably noticed it from the radar perspective, but from my visual perspective, traveling in the last couple of hours, right as I was approaching Baltimore, they really ramped up. And I was right under that couplet, that area of rotation, just as that tornado warning got triggered. What I was able to see in the very difficult terrain, and of course, it is not easy to spot storms like this in Maryland, but I could easily see a very sharp-edged shelf cloud, not a wall cloud, but a shelf cloud, but right underneath that, it turned teal green. And as you know, that can be kind of a strange indication, but it can be an indication of either severe weather, but especially hail. And then the winds picked up very dramatically for a very short period of time, probably gusting over 50 miles an hour. And again, that system continued straight into downtown Baltimore, where I lost sight of it, unfortunately. But again, the storm picked up an amazing amount of strength in just about 10 to 15 minutes as I was approaching just around between I-695 around the Beltway, and then going straight into Baltimore. So it really impressively intensified going straight in. Now, obviously, you've got the tornado warnings to talk about, and I know they're going to continue to track that way, and there has been rotation. I did not see any damage along my path that was indicative of anything tornadic. That's the good news, but there were some impressive wind gusts along the way going down I-70 with very slow-moving traffic.
Yeah, and something you mentioned is some of that heavy rain making things kind of hard to see, and this is a situation where no one should be going outside and trying to see any rotation. It's also going to be hard to see with that heavy rain. Of course, this could be something that is rain wrapped, but I do want to mention we have a new tornado warning in place for some of those areas that I did mention, including Dundalk and Edgemere. That goes through 6:30 p.m. So we'll be tracking the potential for some rotation there. And what we're seeing is a little bit of that red and green coupling. That gives us a good indication of some rotation. And that's right on the edge of that second tornado warning. So just to the west of Dundalk, seeing a little bit of that red and green coupled together. Now, again, this storm system will keep moving to the east. It's moving at about 40 miles per hour to the east. Hail possible, but the biggest concern is that rotation. We've also been having those reports of damaging wind gusts. You're taking a look, I think, from one of our cars on the roads. Just heavy rain moving down now. That's going to be the case over the next hour or so as we keep tracking these systems. So we have two tornado warnings in place. The first for Baltimore City. That goes through 6:15 p.m. The second goes through 6:30 p.m. Seeing some of that coupling right near Dundalk. If you do live within these two boxes, you want to make sure you're finding immediate shelter. The biggest thing is to put as many walls between you and outside as possible. That could mean finding a basement. That's the best place to be. If you don't have a basement, try finding somewhere like a bathroom with no windows or a closet with no windows. What you want to do is find that shelter immediately because the rain and the storms are already here. They're moving across the state, and that threat for heavy rain and potential rotation is there. So taking a look at our HD radar, and we're going to take a look at some of that heavy rain keeping on moving to the east over Baltimore and toward the Dundalk area. And Gerard, you're still online. So what area are you in? Where have you been seeing some of that heavy rain and the storms?
Well, I just actually am on 83. I'm passing Cold Spring Lane, not far from TV Hill. So I'm in just pouring rain. The winds are very light on this side, but there's evidence that there were some very gusty winds. There's a lot of small debris all over the sides of the road. Traffic moving slowly as you'd expect it. The rain is pretty torrential. I'm sure you're hearing it. The lightning's been very impressive. A lot of cloud-to-ground lightning. So this is some impressive severe weather, which is exactly what we were forecasting today. The one thing that you and I were discussing yesterday is the timing, which was so difficult to pinpoint today. But now that we know after this morning's storms were very small and they didn't cover a lot, we knew the atmosphere was primed to do just this. And I know there were some scary-looking clouds rolling in. I was able to snap a couple of pictures earlier as I was passing through.
Yeah, and something else I want to mention, we did have a few breaks in the clouds earlier today. We had a good bit of sunshine, and of course when we do have sunshine, it provides heating, it provides that fuel for the system, and we're seeing the impacts of that now. We have a new tornado warning in place, so you will notice Dundalk no longer under that tornado warning, but Edgemere is a place that is under the tornado warning. That goes through 6:30 p.m. and still part of Baltimore City remaining under that tornado warning through 6:15 for about another 7 minutes. So zooming in, taking a look at some of those spots where we are seeing that warning, Calverton included, Baltimore City, part of Light Street, and then that second warning is in place for Edgemere, Evergreen Park, Breezy Point Beach, all under the threat of that tornado warning. Regardless of where you are, you still want to make sure you're taking these warnings seriously. That includes the severe thunderstorm warnings because, as Gerard mentioned, there has been some debris from those gusty winds. There have been wind gusts of over 50 miles per hour, and that is a possibility within this storm system. So that line is moving to the east. I'll take a look at where we're seeing.
And Jasmine, I just want to ask, the warning is that conditions are right for a tornado to possibly form. That's the difference between a warning and a watch, and that's why it's so serious.
Yes, so when we have the tornado watch, it means that we have the ingredients, they're just not assembled. But now we have that warning, and it means that we're seeing some rotation. Now, our HD radar doesn't tell us if the rotation has reached the ground, but it does tell us that higher up, we are seeing a little bit of that rotation. So looking at our velocity, we always look for the red and green coupling, and we're seeing some of that right around Dundalk. So that's an indication of some rotation. We've got 2 tornado warnings in place. The first one is for Baltimore City, and that goes through 6:15 p.m. So for another 6 minutes, we have that first warning. But we also have a second warning for part of Baltimore County, and that's where we've got Edgemere, Breezy Point Beach, Island View Beach, and even Evergreen Park. If you are in these spots, take immediate shelter.
And quickly, we should mention that there was, and probably still is, a shelter-in-place order at Pimlico. Again, it's Black Eyed Susan Day there. The race was set to take place at 6 o'clock. It definitely got delayed. Obviously, everybody was told to go inside Pimlico, and the shelter-in-place is in order, as really a big crowd is there right now. And hopefully, once the system keeps moving off to the east, people will be able to leave, and we'll see if the race even gets run today.
Mary and Jasmine, let me show some social media here real quick. I know they want us to show us this. Jasmine, of course, this gives Jasmine a moment to regroup because she's got to go back to her computer in the Weather Center. Here is this is the tornado warning that Jasmine's talking about from the National Weather Service, and this shows the hot area right here. But I want to caution people. Do not think because you're not in this area and you should be watching our radar right now, that means you're safe. You are not safe if you're anywhere in the Maryland region right now. Here, look at this. This is I-95. This system is massive. You don't necessarily need to be in a tornado area or environment to be in danger. You could be in danger from lightning, as Gerard was talking about with us on the phone and Jasmine mentioned. You could be in danger from flooding and even from high winds. So please don't get lulled into a sense of safety because you think you're out of the immediate tornado zone. This is a very dangerous system and pretty big. Let's go over here. Yikes, here's another look from Baltimore. This one right here, this is I-95 South View from the toll plaza. Look at the rain. Look how hard it's coming down. And as Gerard mentioned, you get to that area where you might be out, and if you see that kind of weird green look in the sky, that could be an indication that something is right there. But as Jasmine mentioned, please listen to Jasmine right now and Gerard and take cover if you're in any of this affected area. Jasmine, let me throw it back to you.
And thanks, Kai. So I'm looking at the National Weather Service chat now and kind of what we're seeing. So with the first tornado warning that we still have in place that goes through 6:15, and of course the rotation that we're seeing is radar indicated. Now with the second area, we're seeing some tighter rotation. So that's this tornado warning that's in place for part of Baltimore County. So taking a look at those 2 areas, and you really want to make sure that you are finding shelter if you are under either tornado warning. But even with the severe thunderstorm warnings, we emphasize finding shelter because those have the potential to lead to damage. We've already seen some reports of debris. We've had reports of hail. All of these possible for those areas under that severe thunderstorm warning. And it looks like that second tornado warning was canceled.
For Baltimore City?
For Baltimore County.
Okay.
So that's where we're seeing some of that tight rotation. However, the one for Baltimore City is still in place through 6:15, so for about another 2 minutes.
And if we can, we have AJ Gersh. He is inside a Pimlico, and we're going to try to speak with him right now. AJ, it's got to be pretty tense in there, and you guys can hear all of this rain and lightning and thunder.
Yeah, we're inside here at Pimlico. Preakness 150. Of course, this weekend is going to be a fun event. And we are hanging out inside as we were told to. Everyone kind of got ushered in about 30 minutes ago, expecting those severe storms. And what we have seen since then were definitely severe storms. A downpour of rain. We're still seeing lightning over Pimlico Racecourse here, and the wind just dissipating a little bit. But race 13, which is the Black-Eyed Susan race, has been delayed indefinitely at this point. We really don't know when they will get back out there for the main Black-Eyed Susan Stakes. What we do know is that everyone has been ushered inside. We were expecting these storms, like Jasmine and Gerard had been saying all day long. We're going to wait it out here inside of Pimlico until those storms fully go away and those horses, those fillies, get ready for the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes, race 13 here on Black-Eyed Susan Day. Here at Pimlico, I'm AJ Gers. Send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, AJ, the good news is that tornado warning looks like it will expire in just seconds, but take a look at this picture that was sent to us. That does look like something forming. Jasmine, you can give me your scientific opinion about that.
Yeah,
look at those clouds. Those are from Gerard, I assume.
It looks like it may be. And it looked like we did with that first photo, see a funnel. So it's possible that something may have touched the ground.
And it's in Catonsville, I've been told.
In Catonsville, okay. We've been seeing some very heavy rain with this system, and again, we still have that tornado warning in place. So a very interesting photo. We'll have to see if there are any reports of damage. Of course, if that happens, then the National Weather Service will send a team out to survey the area, and if something was confirmed on the ground, that's when we'll know if it was a tornado and what kind or what rating it was. So it does appear that our tornado warning is now canceled, but I still want to emphasize the importance of driving safely and keeping watch on the radar because we still have those storms moving across the area. This is a look now along the eastern shore. I've been mentioning those destructive severe thunderstorm warnings. Those are a factor now along the eastern shore. With some of those, we've had wind gusts of up to 80 miles per hour. Wherever you live, we still have those showers and storms. I'll turn back on the lightning. Lots of lightning, lots of thunder. This will be a threat over the next hour or so, but after this line clears, it's looking good. Through the early night, we'll have an additional chance of showers and storms overnight, but once that clears, it's going to look a lot better by Preakness tomorrow. So it was a very good decision to
right here.
delay that race and have people shelter in order for the Black-Eyed Susan race with the storms moving in. So now our tornado warning has been canceled. Storms still remain across the state, so you want to make sure that you are staying safe and having multiple ways of receiving any alerts that may be issued.
All right, Jasmine, thank you. We're going to continue to watch the radar and make sure that everybody is safe and out of the woods as we no longer have tornado warnings. Is that correct?
That is correct. No more tornado warnings.
Severe thunderstorm warnings?
So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for part of Baltimore County through Hartford and even including Cecil. We have this in Anne Arundel County, but what we are also tracking is this destructive severe thunderstorm warning. So that's for Queen Anne's and down into Talbot. That's for the blinking black and orange box. We could be talking wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour within that system. So it's not just tornado warnings that are a threat, but those destructive severe thunderstorm warnings can also cause significant damage, especially with those high wind gusts. So we're keeping track on that. But you will notice a lot of the heavy rain that we're seeing is now moving over the bay and toward the eastern shore. Where we had some storms earlier in the day, including Frederick and toward Hagerstown, those storms have cleared and the severe thunderstorm watches have been canceled. So within the next couple hours, I think that's going to be the case for us as those storms keep moving to the east. We'll have some of those warnings canceled. And I believe we still have Gerard on the phone.
Yeah, I'm still here, Jasmine. Just passing Northern Parkway, I couldn't continue any further into Baltimore City. It was just becoming kind of impossible to pass through that region. The traffic was just absolutely standstill. But I did pass a pretty large down tree across Northern Parkway, northbound 83. That exit is locked. You will not be able to get off the highway 83 northbound onto Northern Parkway. Large tree is down blocking the road. There are fire crews on the scene right now, at least trying to direct traffic, but I'm hoping everyone can avoid that intersection at least. Everywhere else, it's been sporadic, but it's only been a few trees and limbs. I have not seen anything that looks like structural damage of any kind. But then again, I haven't been able to get in the area that was directly under that tornado warning where that circulation was earlier.
Gerard, let me ask you. And Gerard, let me ask you this. If there is a tree down at Northern Parkway blocking the exit off of 83, and we know we had the tornado warning in place for 15 to 20 minutes. Is that something that the Weather Service will come out and look, or are they going to wait until there's a reported path of destruction?
I think they're going to look for any or hear about any damage to buildings. That circulation passed directly over downtown Baltimore practically. And if there were any structural damage, they would definitely come out to do a survey. For sporadic tree damage, the chances of them coming to look at that are highly unlikely. Many of these trees and limbs could have just fallen down from just straight line wind gusts. And the one that I just passed did not appear that it was directly under that couplet or that tornado warning. So they may not necessarily assess that. But if there's any other damage inside, they may take a look, especially if there's trees that are completely snapped or power lines that were snapped or any kind of structural damage. They will definitely look for that.
Yeah, like straight line winds. We're also concerned for the Catonsville area. We had this photo that showed a funnel cloud for sure, and we just don't know how low it got to the ground, if it ever even got to the ground. But this storm, even though it's moving pretty quickly, is widespread.
Yes, massive storms. I mean, it started out with smaller ones, but then it really, grew into a large cluster or almost like a line of storms. And they became much more powerful as they approached the city of Baltimore. Again, I was chasing these all the way back since Frederick. And all along the way, I could see the intensity just growing and growing on radar, but also visually. The clouds just looked further and further lowered to the ground, darker, of course. And you could see that there were a lot of nervous drivers looking at skies like these. It's been a while since we've seen something like this, but this is spring, and this sort of thing, of course, can happen. But it's certainly a powerful and volatile day, as we knew there was a ton of energy in the atmosphere today to create these kinds of storms. And that's exactly what we were a little bit concerned about, just because if we were to see some of the more of these kinds of storms earlier in the day, they probably wouldn't have been as strong. And they may have actually kind of used up the energy to prevent them from getting so big today. But that's not what happened. We knew that the longer we went without seeing storms, the bigger they were likely to be. And they came through what we call magic hour, which is 6 o'clock. And that tends to be some of the peak time of seeing some of the strongest storms for severe weather in springtime. And again, one tornado warning just very amazingly popped up right over downtown Baltimore. I haven't heard of any damage, haven't seen any on any thing that I've looked at. I have not seen any damage reported on my radar app or anything like that either. That's good news. And so we're hoping that the warning was triggered by a weak circulation that did not reach the ground. We'll have to see what those photos are showing and whether or not that was a true funnel cloud or maybe it was a circulation that reached the ground to become a tornado. We'll have to find out. I believe you said that was in, was it Catonsville?
Catonsville. Yeah, so we've been keeping close watch on that area. Thanks, Gerard. No more tornado warnings in place. Still a few severe thunderstorm watches and warnings. So we'll keep watch on those, and we'll have more on the storms after the break.